finding somewhere to recharge it took about 2 hours. I think people in the UK at the minute are struggling, and I think they've been struggling for a while. Before I came here, my mum was quite worried. Now I've lived here for 2.5 years. I don't think I could move back to England now. I'm Jacob, I'm 25 years old, and I've been living in Shenzhen, China for 2.5 years now, since I graduated university. So I'm an English teacher here at a training center in Lohul. And I live here with my little dog that I've got with me called Sunny as well, who's a Jinmao, a golden retriever.
What was your expectation about China before you come here?
I was actually quite worried to come to China before I came here. And a lot of the reactions I had from my family and my friends were also kind of like, why move there? Why would you want to go to China of all places in the world? My mum was quite worried, she would say to me, you need to be like extra careful and more vigilant with your life here and things like this. Compared to when I actually came here and seeing what it's like living in Shenzhen, just so modern, so clean. In a lot of ways, in every way almost, it's better than life is in England for most people who are struggling to afford groceries and things like that. So now I've lived here for 2.5 years. I don't think I could move back to England now.
What was the impression about China in contrast to the reality?
Completely different in every way, I just thought people here were kind of like the typical things you would hear on the news about, like less freedoms and like authoritarian, especially because I did a politics degree. I did a politics and international relations degree at university. So I think some of the things that you read in a textbook about what a country is like don't match up with what it's like in reality.
What did you learn from the internet, the media about China before you come here? Was the local media leading a really different impression of China?
Yeah, I think the things you hear on the news back in England or just in the West in general is that China's not a very accepting place for foreigners, maybe. I don't know where I got like these stereotypes from, but actually people here, like yourself, are very interested to talk to Westerners about their way of life, and I've never had someone be negative towards me for being a foreigner. They're only like interested to talk to me.
Are there any other countries that you are wishing to spend some time in the future?
Well, I'd like to go back to Fiji, because that was really what inspired me to move abroad in the first place. When I was at university and I did some volunteering there for a couple of months in Fiji, teaching the Fijian children. This was what kind of made me come back to England and want to see more of the world. So to be able to go back to that little village where I stayed like 2.5, nearly 3 years ago now, that's like a big goal for me, to go back and see how everyone has progressed since the last time I saw them.
Tell us more about your experience in Fiji. What did you do there?
So we went with a group of 20 of us who were at the same university as me. It was the University of Lincoln in Lincolnshire, England. So 20 of us went over there with a group called Think Pacific that works with the United Nations to do it's called the Healthy Islands Initiative. So after COVID-19 and the global pandemic, the Fijian government were struggling to get people out of the villages after lockdown and go back to work in the city. So we would go into the villages to help them with employability skills, building a CV, and then it was also kind of like a cultural exchange on top of that as well. So we would do different workshops with them about what English and Western culture is like, and then in return they would teach us about what Fijian culture was like. But because it was in such a remote part of the jungle, this village, there was no phone signal, there was no Wi-Fi, no real showers. The shower was just like a bucket of water that you'd have to wash with in the morning. So it was very like an authentic experience of what it's like to live in rural Fiji.
Will you think about going to some remote areas or villages in China to do the same thing?
Oh, I would love to do that, you know. I think if I was, I would like my Chinese to be at a level where I could speak to them maybe in Chinese would make it easier. Because right now, I've been studying Chinese for nearly 2 years, just over 2 years. But I still don't think it will be, I'm not fluent enough yet.
Are there any other cities that you've been to in China?
So I've just been to mostly places in the south. I've been to like Guangzhou and Hong Kong and Sichuan. But I want to go to more like northern cities, Shanghai, Beijing. Some of my friends who have moved from Shenzhen have gone to other cities too, like Chengdu and Qingdao. So yeah, I'd like to go and see them in the cities they're in now as well.
Those are all very modern cities with different styles.
Yeah.
What aspects of Shenzhen that impressed you most?
I think just how convenient it is. It's a very convenient city to get around. It's like the metro is very cheap and they're everywhere. You can go anywhere on the metro for very low cost. And the technology side of it as well is fascinating. You know, seeing all the buildings light up at night and stuff is just beautiful. And there's not one city in England that I can think of where you see it at that like level. Even London, you know, doesn't have that. It's like dazzling. And then like different districts, like what's it called? The tech market in Shenzhen is Huaqiangbei. You know, you go there and there's just floors and floors and floors of like technology and different things. You can buy anything technology related there.
How does life in the UK differ from that in Shenzhen?
I think people in the UK at the minute are struggling, and I think they've been struggling for a while. I went back just last month actually to see my family, and my mum, she just bought an electric car. So I live in Manchester, but my flight came in London. So she drove down to London to get me. But then when she had to recharge the car, just finding somewhere to recharge it took about 2 hours. There's just nowhere really convenient for you to charge an electric car. And I was telling her how in Shenzhen, you know, every car is electric. So they're everywhere. You know, they even go on those little ramps that will go up and they'll just swap the battery out, and you could recharge it in like 5 minutes. She couldn't believe it. So I think apart from that, just how more convenient China is. It's cheaper, you know, like groceries and just daily cost of living, housing is all a lot more affordable here than it is in England. And the weather's nicer.
Do you have any other plans in the upcoming 1 to 3 years?
I think just like continue really trying to put my effort into learning Chinese. So even though I'm here being a teacher, I would like to stay in China but explore different careers. So I feel like if I could get my Chinese proficiency level high enough, maybe to become like a translator or something like that would be quite interesting.
Do you have many friends in China?
Yeah. I do have. I've made a few friends in Shenzhen, Chinese friends, foreign friends from all different parts of the world, like South Africa and America, Jamaica. You know, it's been a great opportunity living here to meet people from all over the world. It's a very international city, Shenzhen.
How do you feel about making friends in Shenzhen? Is it easy for you?
Yeah, I think because as a foreigner, everyone is in the same boat. Everyone has come here, you know, mostly on their own into the unknown to start a new life. And so I think it's very easy. People want to connect with other people. People want to make friends. And I think with Chinese people, you know, they are like interested in our culture. We want to learn about theirs. So yeah, I think it's a great place to meet new people and make new friends.
Do you have any other foreign friends that they are doing different kind of jobs in Shenzhen?
Yeah, so I have some friends who are models. I've got another friend who's recently just stopped teaching now, and he's setting up his own company in Shenzhen. So, well, most of them are teachers, though. Yeah, most of them are.
How do you feel about the Chinese food?
Oh, delicious! So delicious. My favorite is, it's difficult. Maybe like a hot pot. Maybe a hot pot, coconut chicken hot pot, or barbecue. Both very nice.
So, can you get used to the spicy food?
A little bit. A little bit.
What do you think of the difference between Luohu and Futian district?
Luohu was like the original part of Shenzhen. So it's a little bit more older, a little bit more like cramped together, a little bit more chaotic almost. Whereas Futian is a little bit more modern, more spacious, a lot more like cleaner, aesthetically, a lot more cleaner. But I don't know which one I prefer. I think they've both got their unique personalities. You know, like you go to Laojie in Luohu, it's very kind of like Russian everywhere, a lot of like street vendors. I think that's kind of like the image I had of China before coming here. It was like that chaotic bit of Shenzhen, whereas you come here and this is almost kind of like LA or like some American city, you know, like Los Angeles.
Speaking of your work, how many hours do you work every day?
So it varies because it's a training center. The students will go to like a normal primary school or kindergarten in the day. So I'll start teaching Monday to Friday from 5 till 9 p.m. So only the afternoon. But then on a weekend, it will be from 9 a.m. up until 7 p.m. Saturday and Sunday.
How many days do you work per week?
6 days a week. I get Wednesday off, which is today.
What do you think of the working life in China? Is it really hard for you, or are you suffering a lot of pressure?
I think at first it's one of those cultural shocks that you need to get over. Things like if you have a holiday, working it back on with makeup days, it was something new for me. So if you have like a day off for May Day or like the Dragon Boat Festival, you'll have to work extra hours the week after or the day after to work back the hours that you had off. But I think my boss is very nice. My colleagues are all very friendly. So I don't mind working as much as I do. You know, it's kind of like, I'm used to it now. Yeah.
What do you think of the students in China?
Very hardworking. Very hardworking. Maybe too much so. You know, I know this in Chinese the concept the 内卷, right?
内卷.
内卷. So students have to constantly be studying in order to, you know, achieve the grades that they need to find a good job. You know, in a job market where there's so many people in China, there's so many people competing for work. I think they can be very stressed at times. I think that's why I like, as a foreign teacher, I have more freedoms to be more jokey with them and like, you know, make their learning a little less stressful, you know.
Isn't that of the same situation for the students in UK?
No, I don't think so. I think from my experience of being, you know, a student in England, we don't take school as seriously, or I didn't maybe take it as seriously as the students here. I think it's less strict. You can get away with being more troublesome in England.
Is it really very easy for students in England to enter a university?
Yeah, I think if you have your mind set on going to university in England, you can do it. I didn't come from a rich family. My family were quite poor, so you know my grades weren't. I wasn't in like bad grades, but they weren't amazing grades. They were just very average, I think. You know, and still, the government will provide funding and loans for you to go to university. So I don't know one person that wanted to go to university but couldn't in England. You know, and all my friends went to university that wanted to go.
Did you have private tutor after school when you were in middle school or high school?
Absolutely not. No, nothing like that.
Do you feel it easy to go to university
Yeah, I think.
for your own case?
Yeah, in the UK, I think it's quite easy. There's a lot of options, a lot of different universities you can go to, or online university even.
What about the tuition for university? Is that for free or is that of high expense?
So the government will pay for that. So it's not technically free. You do pay it, but the government will pay it up front. And then with the expectation that when you leave university and find a job, you start earning over a certain threshold. I'm not sure what it is, maybe around like £23,000 a year. The government will just take it back like a tax. So you'll pay it back in like a tax form.
So did you pay it back by yourself?
Well, because I moved abroad, the rules are a bit different. So I don't actually need to pay it back yet. Because I'm working abroad and my salary is not like at that point where I need to start paying it back. So even if I didn't pay any back, by the time I think you're like 50 years old or something, the government will just wipe that debt clean. So you won't need to pay it back.
So being a citizen in the UK, a lot of pleasure
A lot of pleasure.
instead of pressure.
Yeah. It can be at times, you know. But then thinking that, like, would I want to move back there? No, I don't think I want to. I don't think I want to spend my life in England. I would just like to spend it in maybe even in China. Maybe like I think my life here is a lot more comfortable than it is for my friends back home. A lot less stress, a lot less worry about bills and things. So yeah, there's some like pros and cons. Like the university thing is nice in England, but then afterwards, you know, just being able to afford rent and groceries and shopping and still maintaining a life is quite difficult.
Are there any words you would like to speak to the young generation in China? Just thinking about your experience with students in China.
Ooh, I think like keep on going. It might seem tough and it might seem difficult, but just like persevere and get through. And then once you get to a point where you can go out and see life, like try and see it for real, try and explore the world, try and see new things, and yeah, just live your life with an open mind, with love, you know.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.